Greetings, my beautiful friend. It's Coleraine or Coleraine Tarot here on YouTube. My pronouns are they, them. And I am so honored to be creating this fourth video in the 4-part series for healing from trauma responses. And this is the video, as you've probably seen from the title, that is focused on the FAWN response. Now, usually, or I guess traditionally in the past, the psychology on this, response to trauma was just the fight, flight, and freeze. But more recently, there's been studies that have shown that fawning is also the fourth kind of response. And now fawn is when we're people pleasing. And sometimes this is the sneakiest trauma response because it can last well out of the traumatic experiences and actually cause us to become indebted to more of those patterns in covert ways. So even if we escape overt abuse and trauma, we can still carry this fawn response that causes us to be in covert abuse and trauma. So this is going to be, I think, the most nuanced energy work. But I also feel like, for me personally, this is something that I've only just recently been going through the acceptance and the release of this in my own life. And so I feel like actually my own processing of that is what led me to be able to do this series for you. Because I've been through every trauma response. So, yeah. And I've done energy work on myself for it as well. But you don't need my credentials. So let's get into it. I'm going to pull an oracle message to open the session and just invite in your guides of wisdom, compassion, truth, and alignment. And they wanted to bring 2 messages out for you. So I'm going to start with this one that showed me the back first. And this says, "Let love transform. The sea becomes filled with pearls. The dry land receives the water of life." That's the Rumi quote. The sea becomes filled with pearls. The dry land receives the water of life. Love's genius and generosity are not bound by the mind. All manner of miraculous grace works through love in endless creative variety. Your heart's yearning shall manifest itself. Do not attempt to predict how that can be. Why would we seek to limit love's creative genius? Instead, trust that it will be magnificent and kind. So, before I read the second message, I'm feeling some stuff come through with this card. So the guides are wanting me to specify, because I didn't in the first 2 videos. I'll have it in the caption of those, but this was inspired by a desire to decolonize through Reiki and to respond to the colonial and imperial forces that have been traumatizing the human collective in the last 2,000 years. It's been a really long time that this has been happening. And I feel like there's a massive shift as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, where we are exiting out of these trauma patterns and learning how to deeply cultivate healing in the way that the ancient ancestors did in all different cultures. And through the process of colonization, we lost those healing methods in order to regain them and to heal these certain aspects of our human collective that were still resistant to those ancient healing methods. And I love that this card is called "Let Love Transform," because when we are in the fawn trauma response, it's the part of us that deeply craves love, that has been starved of love, that wants to receive and wants to feel our value. And so this "Let Love Transform" is reminding us that we can, and that there are people who are doing this work, and that we can open ourselves up to receive, to be vulnerable with, and to accept this communion. And even though there may not be many people like this, or there's not potentially an abundance of these type of people around you, especially if you've been in dysfunction for a long time. There are people that do exist. And for a lot of you, these are going to be either older family members that you might find this kind of comfort or solace or recalibration or regulation of the emotions from, so that you're not seeking validation from someone else. But for a lot of you, this is going to be a part within yourself that's like that elder or that wise one. And we all have access to this because we either have ancestors that have transformed on the other side through their cleansing of going through their death journey, or we have past life versions of self. We also have future versions of ourself. If you're young like me, you can always reach out to the older versions of yourself and do that kind of time travel where you draw on this wisdom. But I do feel like for a lot of you, these are going to be elders in body. And for a lot of you, this could also be, like I said, family, but maybe created family. And I saw 555. So let's get to the other message. This is Whirling Goddess. Not a single thread has a head. Oh, that has a head can go through the eye of the needle. I'm going to read that again. Not a single thread that has a head can go through the eye of the needle. Certain thresholds can only be crossed with the heart. You are being asked to trust rather than understand, so that you may leave the past behind you and embrace the beauty of your life's journey. You are ready. Definitely call upon goddess energy if you're resonating with that, because the whirling goddess is showing us that being able to turn within and to, draw the energy around us, get it moving and get that momentum. We can get that clarity as we move with the momentum rather than having something, chaotically swirl around us and not be able to fully see the patterns that are going within that, those responses that we're having. Okay, I'm gonna pull a tarot. I know this message has gone on a little bit longer than I wanted, but that's okay. You got 2 tarot as well, and they're both in the reverse. We have the 9 of Swords and the 6 of Wands in the reverse. So this fawn is more complicated of a response, and so it's going to take a bit more intense energy work to get through to that core, because it is residing in the heart space for each and every one of you that is participating in this energy healing. The fawn response gets us to oftentimes abandon ourselves to be pleasing or appease the comforts of others or the perceived comfort of like a social situation. So we don't want to take up as much space. We don't want to be the disruptive person that is facing the conflict. So even it may be an avoidance of the other trauma responses that we've had, that fight response, the flight response, the freeze. Maybe we've been stuck in those, and so we go into the fawn response because it seems easier to abandon the part of ourself that's feeling traumatized in order to gain approval. Because in some ways, that fawn response is actually cultivated, especially if you're in an abusing situation, by, like, let's say, you're in a colonizing thing where there are people colonizing your culture or your country. They want you to be in that fear response and be submissive and subservient. So that fawn response is very submissive, and it causes us to, again, abandon that self notion. This is making me have a bit of a revelation about what I've been focusing on with my own healing from self-abandonment. So very interesting. Thank you, spirit guides. But this 6 of Wands is showing that we've been taught through this fawn response that the victory is not ours to own. That the transformation of being sovereign isn't ours to embody, to embrace. And oftentimes when we surrender to our residuals from traumatic experiences, that's where we actually find the healing, when we rest into it and it becomes something that's a little bit more effortless. I'm thinking of, like, I did a breathwork meditation this morning, and it was like I didn't even think about, releasing trauma. I didn't let anything consciously come to me, but I had such a physical somatic response to this breathwork that it was a surrender into my spirit guides and a surrender into being the spirit in the body. Like, the things that my body's carrying, my spirit can heal without it becoming painful first, if that makes sense. I hope that's it's just a message I'm getting from that butterfly. Yeah. So this is a real chance to find your way out of the confusion, because the FAWN response is so confusing. It's so layered. It's so complex. Yeah, okay. I have this dragon's blood incense that's still burning from filming the last video, so I'm just going to start using this to draw a Reiki symbol through, and I'm being called to act on the entire chakra system as one entity, as one being, to unify this so that there is a flow between all the different parts of you, all those energy centers, and that there is not a separateness, because often that FAWN response comes from when we detach. Okay, I'm going to use only, certain parts of myself to stay safe. Speaking of safety, I'm being called to just bring in an energy of safety around you, to be able to draw your aura in, call all of your power back to you as it exists within all lifetimes, within all dimensions, as you have been given and commanded by the source of all life to be able to have control or influence over a certain aspect of our collective energy, to bring all of that energy back into you. And I was seeing a blue dragonfly, and so that blue gives us that throat and that third eye awareness. So, and the dragonfly, I feel so connected to that, breaking through illusions, being able to see clearly. So if there's been any kind of mind control, manipulation, and confusion, just drawing that away from the aura. I'm going to use some fluorite to help assist in releasing that mind control, that manipulation, and that illusion that you are not allowed to be who you are safely. And instead drawing in the energy that you are allowed to be who you are, and that you have the power and the sovereignty to work that in, no matter what the system or the structure that is being falsely created around you is trying to communicate to you about that sovereignty and about that power. And I'm just drawing this down, connecting the crown and the solar plexus to break any curses that have been put on you, by you, or by others, that cause you to go into the FAWN response. I want to use some morganite for you. Yeah, I'll use amethyst next. This is a morganite piece that I found that totally looks like a duck to me. And morganite is used to, and it has some silver in it too. So we're going to use this for psychic protection and being able to trust your judgment. Because the FAWN response requires us to not be trusting what we're receiving from someone. But the morganite is used to reawaken the heart space after emotional traumas, to open up and invite in sensitivity. And I'm just calling on Archangel Raphael to support this heart healing. If you need that support, you can always call on him. And morganite is also used to bring in more unconditional love, And as those cards showed us, love is the remedy to releasing and moving beyond patterns of trauma and participating in the power that trauma tries to take from us and from our collective and our communities and our cultures. I'm being called down to the root and just to say a little prayer while we sit in silence for your ancestry, for the ways that you have been dealing with this response to trauma, and the ways that you are being called to break this curse from your family line. To forgive yourself, to forgive others, and to release and detach from these ways of living, these ways of being that cause unequal power imbalances. Beautiful. I'm going to use this amethyst. It's a little heart to draw upon that loving energy and to help you to be honest and to advocate for yourself, to not be intoxicated by the manipulations of others or to be controlled by others or implanted beliefs, because sometimes these aren't even beliefs that other people have, they just carry them around. It's like a virus in a way that just spreads. So creating an immunity to these entities. A lot of these have spiritual sources. These infections in the human psyche, in human cultures. Reawakening in the heart, the wisdom, and the connectedness to spirit. I saw 1717, so maybe that's an important angel number for you. Helping us to awaken to our internal guidance, our knowing. And I bet if you're here, you have many past lives where you've been doing this. So awakening to those lessons that you've integrated within other lifetimes. Awakening to your spirit body, to your connection to your energetic body that exists within your spirit. And also awakening into your physical body that carries everything from this lifetime so that you may know and receive the wisdom. I want you to join me. I know we're kind of at the end of the time that I wanted to spend on this, but I'm really feeling called to guide you through some breath work before we close the session. So I just want you to sit up straight, to become present, and to breathe deep with me. Taking in a deep breath into the belly, holding it there, and to breathe out for a count of 4. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in for 8. Breathe out for 4. Breathe in for 8. And out for 4. Slowly breathe in for 8. Breathe out for 4. To finalize this energy session, I'm just going to sweep through your aura with this crow feather, giving you the strength and the courage to change this pattern in your life. Knowing that you have deities, you have spirit guides, you have ancestors that you can call on with love at any time. And that your power is something that you can find always. And even if it's not your power, you can always find your love for yourself and for others. And that is your strength. I'm sending you so much love, my friend. Thank you so, so much for participating in this healing for yourself and for the collective, for the good of all. I'm sending you so much love, so much gratitude. Sending gratitude to every other force in the universe that brought us together for this session today. I wish you the best of luck. If you're interested in any of my other offerings, I will have the link to my website below. Otherwise, I will see you in another video, my friend. Bye. And if no one's told you today, I love you.